This time I'll call the May meeting of the Haywood County Board of Education to order. This time I'd like to ask Mr. Jimmy Rogers to lead us in our board prayer. Immediately following that, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the prayer.
Let us pray. Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, again tonight we want to say thank you for the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. Thank you, Lord, for the children of Haywood County. Thank you for the opportunities that they have given to them to get an education and to learn to be the best that they can be. And through your guidance, Lord, we pray that you be with each and every one of us, be with each and every one of our teachers, our staff. Lord, we pray that your guidance upon them and give to them, Lord, the tools they need every day to help educate children. And Lord, we pray that as this board meets, that we make the decisions that are always in the best interest of children. And Lord, the best that we can serve you. Guide and direct us, Lord, in everything that we do and throughout our daily walks with you. And we'll always give you the praise and the glory for it all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. My first announcement is Mr. Clark had another engagement. He couldn't be here tonight, and Mr. Kirkpatrick has his children involved in a ball game's my understanding, so he won't be here tonight. That's correct, I believe. Okay. Under announcements, our next regular board meeting will be held here at the Education Center on June the 13th at 7 o'clock. I would also like to announce the 2022 graduation dates. Haywood Early College is Friday, May the 20th at 7 p.m. at the HCS Auditorium. Haywood Community Learning Center is June the 2nd, 4 p.m. at the Learning Center campus. Tuscola High School will be June the 3rd at 7 p.m. at the Ramsey Center over at Western Carolina University. Pisgah High School will be June the 4th at 10 a.m. at the Ramsey Center at Western Carolina University campus. And Central Haywood High School will be June the 6th at 6 p.m. at the HCS Auditorium. I'd also like to announce that we have a vacancy for this board's opportunity to appoint someone to the Haywood Community College Board of Trustees. We are seeking those individuals that may be interested in appointment to that board by this board. You may send your resume to my attention at 1230 North Main Street, Waynesville, North Carolina, 28786. Or you can hand deliver it to our current location down at the Old Central Elementary School, and that's 62 Joy Lane. That's where our Board of Education and Administration is currently being housed. The deadline for this application is 4 o'clock on Friday, May the 27th. If you're interested, please apply. I'd also like to announce the Haywood County Schools Art Show is May the 24th through the 26th from 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Haywood Conference Center. That's up near the Folk Moot Center. Are there any other announcements that need to be made? Okay. I feel very confident that we've got a lot of agenda adjustments tonight, so who wants to go first? Building and Grounds?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have two items to bring before the board tonight for Building and Grounds.
Okay. Let's do it right prior to the monthly financial reports at 18, 17, and 18, between 17 and 18, and remind me if I skip over it, I'm sorry. Okay. You had how many items, Dr. Rogers? I'm sorry. Just one. Two items, okay. And then Finance Committee, did you have some?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee has 5 additional items we need to add to the agenda, please.
Okay, we'll do it at number 18, where we have our regular monthly financial reports.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any objections? This time then I'll ask a motion for approval of the adjusted board agenda.
Motion.
Mr. Nevis made the motion, second by Dr. Rogers, is that correct? Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes and the agenda is set. I think the other announcement I needed to make was Ms. Barker was not going to be here for a while. I think she has some activity now. Is that correct?
She did have a family commitment tonight.
That's correct. So the next one would be, you going to handle it, Dr.?
We have
Fox.
Carol and I think a principal
Okay.
handle that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Francis and members of the board, Dr. Nolan, Dr. Putnam, and guests, I have the honor, along with Ms. Blackman tonight, to recognize two students from Tuscola High School who were selected as Goodnight Scholars through NC State University. The Goodnight Scholars Program provides an annual scholarship of $22,000 per year for up to 4 years for students majoring in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and education disciplines, the STEM disciplines. In addition to the funding, the Goodnight Scholars Program provides opportunities for students to connect to local, national, and international leaders in STEM education, research, and industry. This is a prestigious scholarship, and these young men were selected from 101 finalists that was narrowed from a pool of 800 applicants. So it's a very great honor. That's exactly right. So I would like to have Ms. Blackman come. She wanted to say a few words, and then we have a couple of certificates.
I'm just going to say a very few words. To have one Goodnight Scholar chosen out of a high school class is an honor for any high school, but to have two Goodnight Scholars coming from one high school is an absolute privilege and an honor, and they excel not only in the classroom but also in athletics and in music. I've been able to watch both of them perform throughout their last 4 years, and I know parents are very proud of them, as are we at Tuscola. So please, please congratulate Jonah Oddie and Andrew Delbin.
And we have a certificate for these young gentlemen, but I also asked them if they wanted to say anything, and I think they may have a couple of words.
Yes, we'd just like to say thank you so much for having us here tonight. We just are very appreciative. Oh, sorry. Just thank you all so much for having us here tonight, and
we're very honored to be here. Thank you so much.
All right, this is
Congratulations.
Andrew Delbin. And this is Jonah Oddie.
All right. Right up here. Way to go, guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda will be Mr. Clint Connor for a special recognition.
Mr. Francis, members of the board, Dr. Bill, Dr. Putnam, Ms. Barker, I guess she's not here, but I'll say her name anyways. At this time, I'd like to recognize a Pisgah student. This is Christian Basulto, who's the son of Armando and Christine Basulto, and then other son, Armand, right? I get that right? First of all, I'd like to recognize Christian on his Eagle Scout recognition for the Troop 370 Daniel Boone Council. And we're super proud of him for that. He'll talk more about it, but I do want to add a couple things. Just in the last week, I've learned a lot about Christian. First of all, attending the NJROTC Awards. Christian's going to be our new CO, which is Commanding Officer of Pisgah High School NJROTC, which is a huge leadership position, and his brother is the executive officer right below him in rank. So both of those boys are really doing it. And then also, Christian was accepted to the Naval Academy, which is a summer seminar in Annapolis, and we're very proud of him for that. And he also was accepted to the summer leadership experience at West Point. So those are well deserved. There's a lot of candidates from national looking to go to those programs, and he got accepted to do that, which is very huge. Another thing that I want to point out, I'm just so proud of our Pisgah NJROTC, because they're not only competitively in the state, they've put these boys in position to be competitively nationally and get these awards, which is a huge step. If you want to hook up to some fine young men at Pisgah High School, these are two great candidates. Christian?
So I appreciate so much the honor of being able to represent scouting and our ROTC unit at Pisgah. And so at Pisgah, my project was I installed an orchard and trellis, just kind of to supplement the agriculture program there, so that kind of gets some hands-on fruit farming experience for students there. But Principal Connor is right in saying that our ROTC unit has really done some great things, and in the past years we've been able to qualify for and place at the national competition. And I will be attending the summer programs at Annapolis and West Point, and I'm hopeful that in the next year maybe we could see you guys again, maybe getting some state and national stuff for ROTC. So I have a bright plans for the unit, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is Dr. Putnam, but I'd like to mention, I remember when those boys came to Francis Cove Church when they were growing up, they were about, now look, grow up on us. Congratulations.
At this time, I'll recognize Julie Green for some special Bethel Middle athletic recognitions.
Mr. Chairman, Board, thank you so much for having us this evening. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially when we get to honor one of our kids. So, Dallas, come on up here with me real quick. If you don't know him, this is Dallas Reeves. He is someone that I've known since he was about this tall, and look at him now. He is a fantastic student, fantastic athlete, and has represented our school to the highest degree. And he is a two-time conference champion in track this season, winning the 800-meter race, the 1,600-meter race, and maybe more important than anything, he set a new school record for us this year in the 800-meter, beating his older brother by 1 second. So, Dallas, congratulations. We are You're just going to walk around and shake your You're welcome.
Yeah, look at Spencer. Look at Spencer back there.
I would like to thank my coaches and teammates, and I'm glad to beat my brother's times.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've got 3 conference champion athletes from Canton Middle School's track team. I'm going to just go in, I guess we'll go backwards here. So in the 400-meter individual, we have Miss Chandler Lowry. Our 200-meter individual, Bailey Connor. I'm just going to read all 3 of these at one time. We have the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 400-meter. Mr. Mason Putnam, he also set the school record in all 3 events and the state record in the 400, correct? And the 400-meter.
Smile on Dad's face.
I can have 53 days.
Yeah.
Only a few people will know that Coach Dave.
Chalk setters.
See what we.
Get the calendar out time. They had the.
Coach Simmons just informed me Mason cannot bowl. It's good to know. And next we have backing up to Bethel Middle and yeah, right. But are you doing Bethel? Bethel just Bethel Middle Sportsman Club. Actually, your brother this time. That's right.
As they come in, I want to thank Dr. Nolte, Trevor, Jill for their support, the board. Thank you for supporting what we do, this program. It's important to me. I'll call you out in a minute. Start of the year, really young team. I knew that we were going to be okay. Didn't realize what we were going to have first couple practices. Even Trey and a couple of the parents, which everybody's new. COVID, everybody's new. Kids, the parents didn't have a clue what was going on. Me and Trey, Franklin, our first cousin, got to talking. They're like, man, they're throwing up some crazy numbers. See how it happens. So I'll call out grade they're in as they come in. What we've done as a team and the individuals, but again, thank you for your support of the program. I believe in the program, and we deal with a lot of schools across the state and across the district that don't have the support from nobody, well, even the schools. Paris, top notch, absolutely. I think we talked about it, and she's missed 2 or maybe 3 tournaments in the 9 years that I've coached this at Bethel. So, Paris, thank you for your support and for letting us have a program for the kids. So as we've done this year, we started out local tournaments. We done well, pretty much cleaned house. Both our local tournaments got district tournament. Always waiting to see how the nerves settle. Bethel Middle School was District 9 champs and everything. We took first place in archery, first place in shotgun, first place in orienteering, first place in 22. We had an individual win District 9 overall individual. We had an individual win 22 rifle. I'll call them out as they come up. Mr. Hayden Sarles. Hayden Sarles is a 6th grader. You can tell how big he is. He was the 22 District 9 champ rifle. Caleb Glance. Caleb shot on the 22 team and the shotgun team. Caleb. Still have to holler at him. Mason Young. Mason was on the 22 team and the archery team and the orienteering team. Tanner Nichols. Shotgun team. I've not had an 8th grader yet, by the way. And just one through 7th grade. Ash Griffith. Shotgun team. Tegan Harris, 22, and orienteering. I'm going to give a shout out to Wade. Wade didn't make any of the shooting teams very close. He come a long way in shotgun this year. He's come up just a little bit short. Wade stuck with us and didn't do the fun one. He had to take the test, do all the orienteering stuff. So Wade, thank you for sticking out on the orienteering. A little bias on this one, but Kate Franklin, she's my favorite archer. She earned a spot on the archery team as a 5th grader. Jonah Smith. Jonah is my only 8th grader, and he was on shotgun team and 22 team, and he was a culprit of COVID. I would love to have Jonah. He's a great kid, but I just got him for about a year and a half, or not even quite a full year, so we're going to miss Jonah for sure. Archer kid. Mr. Eli Holland. Eli is another 6th grader who participated in all 4, earned a spot on all 4 teams. He was, if I'm wrong, District 9 individual overall champion and 3rd place individual archery champion state. We finished 4th overall at state. Just a few minor mistakes out of 2nd place overall. So, like I said, Jonah's only 8th grader I got. I got a couple of 3 6th graders, most of them 6th or 5th. So, say I'm jacked about next year. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Caleb, Sam Holland, Trey's not here, and Mike Frazier for helping coach.
Anybody else want to come around and get a picture? Don't be bad. That's right, come on. Y'all better stay put, your mama's coming.
And smile. Smile pretty. They said smile.
Block there,
Being pretty.
Going out that way, it looks like.
Congratulations, guys.
Good job.
Congratulations.
See you next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Where's David?
He's coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's going to do camp.
Oh, okay. All right.
Next, we have David Franklin with Canton Middle School Sportsman.
All right, get everything together here. First off, thank you, Dr. Nolte, Dr. Putnam, Mr. Barker, Honor, and Brooke for supporting us. I know Chad went into it. Thank you, board. Again, I won't repeat what he did a whole lot, but your support for this program itself means more to these kids and to us as coaches than you'll ever know. So it makes our job much easier. Just to go over just a quick recap tonight of Canton Middle's year. We ended up this year at district. Our archery team we finished second place. Chad and them got us, but just a few points at district. And they finished fourth place at district in shotgun, fourth place in orienteering, and we ended up third place overall and had enough points with that third place finish to qualify for state. So great job for these kids. Everybody you'll see up here tonight, I don't know if Chad said it or not, we've not got to have a team in 2 years. So this is the first year even some of the 8th graders have got to participate. So we've been glad to get back to normal. I'll start it out here and I'll try to get all these right. First off, Miss Heidi Lanning. Heidi finished second place individual in archery at state. She participated in archery and in rifle. She finished second at district to the eventual state champion and finished 7th at state in archery. Next, Hunter Nelson. Hunter was on all 4 teams. He made the archery team, rifle, trap, and the hunter skill team. Hunter was 3rd overall at district. And I don't know if I put it on here. Where did he end up at state? Mitch. 6th overall individual at state out of 160 some kids, 130 kids, something like that. So good job on that. And he jumped in and volunteered for the orienteering team and the hunter skills test, which none of them love to do. Next, Junior Sizemore. Junior shot rifle and trap. Next is Landon Wilson. Landon was on the shotgun team at district and the orienteering team, and Landon is your 2022 District 9 orienteering individual champion. And this year's orienteering at district did not involve the orienteering course where they read the compass and the map. It was strictly a test. It was a 100-question test that I would not have wanted to take open book. And he scored the highest out of all the kids at district on that test. Next, Logan Williams. Logan shot in rifle and was on the orienteering team. When we got to state, we did get to run the compass course, and Logan stepped up and was our compass reader and kind of our coach in the field on that team. Good job, Logan. Next is little Edwards, Hunter Edwards. Hunter is a 5th grader this year. We let some 5th graders come on this year and participate. Here, you want to take this with you? And Hunter ended up making the archery team, the shotgun team, and the orienteering team. All right, next, Chase Morrow. Chase was on the archery team. Next is Hayden Gibson. Hayden was on the archery team. Keaton Mason. Keaton was on the trap team. Jacob Trull. Jacob was on the rifle team. Maddox Wright. Maddox was on the trap team. Cade Chandler, I don't think Cade is here. Cade was on the hunter skills team. So with that, one thing that we are missing tonight, a couple of the coaches that helped out. I want to recognize Nathan Edwards. Nathan stepped up this year, him and his wife Rebecca, and Daryl and Sherry could not be here tonight. They have been a huge help to both programs, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when Pisgah comes up. But thank you all.
Can we get your picture?
Absolutely.
All right, okay, tall people on the stand, not as tall in front. Parents come, let's get a picture.
No, I'll take a picture.
Good job. Great. How you doing? Good. Good. Hello, David. How are you? Good to see you.
Next we have Brandon Sutton, Waynesville Middle Sportsman Club.
Right. How y'all doing? Brandon Sutton, I'm with Waynesville Middle School shooting team. This year we had 54 kids turn out to the shooting team at the very beginning. We ended up taking two teams to regionals, which is District 9 regionals. The black team, we had a black and a gold team. The black team got to continue on to state, okay? But, you know, it's a very growing sport. Like I said, we had 54 kids come out. That's a lot of kids to begin with. Okay? I'd like to recognize the black team and what they've done at regionals. Waynesville Middle School black teams won second overall as a team, came in second place overall as a team. Second in rifle as a team. Came in third in shotgun as a team. And we actually had a individual, Ace Rogers, who placed first as an individual in shotgun. So he automatically got a bid to go on to the state level. Okay, we didn't, when we got to the state level this year, we done very well. I think that Waynesville Middle School placed 7th in the state, as far as in the state overall as a team. We placed 4th in archery, and I don't remember the shotgun. It was a little bit further down on shotgun and nav. But, very proud of these kids. Go ahead and recognize those kids. Where's my certificate? Right here? That would be great. Didn't have but 4 kids show up tonight. So the first one is going to be Lucas Reinhardt. Lucas shot shotgun, and he also shot in archery.
He's gonna make it for us. That's a test, Doctor.
Yeah, that's right. He was my first one on the list here. Next, I have Riley Creasman. Riley competed in shotgun only, and he was one of my better shots. I have Harley Dover. Miss Dover shot in 22 this year, and she was probably the most improved in 22. She actually, at the end of it, when we went to state, she was probably my #1 shooter in 22. That's great. That's right. My last one is Caden Hanna. Caden competed in archery only, and he was also probably the most improved at the middle school level in archery. I apologize, that's all I have with us tonight. We had a lot of my kids were at the baseball and rugby. They're competing for the championship over there tonight. So I had several at softball and baseball tonight. So that's all I have. Sure. Rounding up the delays, they're rounding up the teams, so we brought them in, brought the masses in one at a time. So. Next up, we have David with us again for Pisgah High Sportsman Club.
All right, one more time, and I'll try to get all these right. It's kind of like the Bethel Middle crowd. There's a lot to announce, but again, thank you for having us here tonight. I'm going to bring in the Pisgah High Sportsman's Club here shortly. I'll call their names out and talk a little bit about their accomplishments. What we're getting ready to bring in is the District 9 Archery Champion, District 9 Rifle Champions, District 9 Trap Champions, District 9 Orienteering Champions, and District 9 Overall Champions. Third place in archery in state by 4 points. Second place in shotgun, and we were tied for first with shotgun, and we lost the tiebreaker, and we're still not 100% sure what that was, but they told us we lost it. And then 5th place overall in the state. So again, not quite the day we wanted when we got down there. Some of them were disappointed, but as I told them after we were done, nobody dropped a point on purpose that day. So they went down there and gave it their best, and still had a good showing. So with that, I'll start it out and start at yeah, if you'll hold them for me. Yeah, if you'll hold them back there, I can see them better. I don't have to put glasses. Drake Franklin. Drake is a senior this year. He was in archery and hunter skills. He finished 2nd in archery at the district and ended up in 6th place individual at state. Next is Colby Donaldson. Colby was in archery, trap, and rifle. Colby finished third place at district in rifle. He also shot a perfect score in shotgun at district. We had 3 kids shoot perfect scores at district. He fell short in the shoot-off, but as you'll see, we brought the individual trophy home also. Colby's also a senior this year. Next is Grady Glance. Grady was archery, hunter skills, trap, and rifle at district. And then at state, he was in archery, hunter skills, and shotgun. And we switched him and Jake out in rifle at state. But he ended up finishing 4th place overall at district. And is that it? Second in shotgun. Yep. Second in shotgun at state. That's right. I've got a lot of yellow on here. So he shot a perfect score at state. And I'll make fun of him just a little bit because I know it still hurts him. We shot a 990 at district, and Grady was the 10 points that we dropped. He was the only one that dropped one. But he made up for it at state and made it all the way to the final round in the shoot-off. So next is our last senior, Seth Reed. Seth was in archery, rifle, and hunter skills. Next is Jake Hanson. Jake was, trying to see what all we've got here for him. He shot a perfect score at state in shotgun and ended up in the top 4 or 5, whatever it came down to there in the shoot-off. There was only 12 perfect scores at state. This guy had 3 of them. So out of 32 teams, I think it was that was down there. So, and then Jake also participated in all the events, his archery, trap, rifle, and hunter skills at state, and finished 10th place overall as an individual. Next is Natalie Shuford. Natalie was on the rifle team. Natalie's not here tonight, okay. Next is Caden Carson. Caden was on the rifle team and the hunter skills team. He, at district, let's see where he was. He finished 4th place individual, and then state, I think he was our highest scorer in rifle at state, and he was in the top 15, I think, somewhere out in that area. So, good job there. Next is Landon Stockton. Landon specializes in trap. He was our District 9 champion, so he shot a perfect score at district and ended up winning the shoot-off there. He also shot a perfect score at state. So under pressure, he's our man. And then Bryson Robinson. Bryson's also a trap guy. And Bryson shot, I'm trying to get them all right here. Bryson shot a perfect score at district also. So, a couple of things I want to mention here. There, like I said earlier, with the middle school, Darrell and Sherry's not able to be here tonight. It finally got them, so they're having to stay home a little bit. But Darrell wanted me to pass on, and I think y'all know it, for the shotgun team. His head swelled up this big this year, so he's tickled to death with you, and wanted me to make sure that everybody knew that. So, thank you.
Yeah, we need him one of those. An extra large.
Extra large P.
Yeah. That's his persecution.
right, this is off the charts, but my dad, he's been the coach for 13 years, and this is his last year. So I'd like to thank him for everything that he's done for Sportsman's Club and all these kids over the years.
Thank you, David. That'd be a big loss.
Those coaches are sly. They never tell you the really important stuff about them. So next we have Brandon back to recognize Tuscola. This sheet, this one good. I've got it here. Do you want me to do the certificate? Please.
Well, I'm back again. I'm also the coach with Tuscola Sportsman's Club. So tonight we've got more at the high school level too. We had football practice, some other things going on, so a lot of the kids could not make it tonight. Okay, so I want to recognize some of their achievements real quick at the high school level. When we went to regionals this year, Tuscola High School black team. I want to start out by saying we had 39 kids come out at the high school level, so it's quite a few kids at the high school level. We had a black and a gold team also that went and competed at regionals, and then one team got to go on to state, and that was the black team. Black team at regionals ended up third overall as team. Okay, second in rifle as a team. Second in archery as a team. We had a couple of individuals I want to recognize real quick. Riley Nolan, he's not here. I just want to recognize him as far as he was first individual in archery. He was also first individual in rifle, so that's saying a lot. Next year we're going to get Riley to shoot shotgun, so hopefully that'll make him trifecta there. That's what we're hoping. And go ahead and start recognizing. Oh yeah, and I'll do Luke first. Luke, come up first, please. I'm sorry. And the reason I'm going to recognize Luke first is because Luke McHenry at the regionals level, he placed first in the hunter skills or the orienteering part of this program, and that's saying a lot at the high school level because that's probably the toughest thing that we do. The orienteering is based on reading a compass, and at the regionals level they didn't do nothing but a test, and Luke was first at that. We went to state, and Luke also I don't know if you looked at the standings, but Luke was fourth at individual as part of the state test, and our orienteering team at state got within 2 feet 9 inches before they had to be. So that's saying a lot for them. But Luke was first place at regionals. Good job, Luke. Yes, Mason Clark. Mason Clark is next. Mason shot all 3 events, and he was part of the orienteering team. He's a good shot in all 3. As far as reading the compass, we didn't let him read a compass. We just let him tag along. No, I'm just kidding. He done very well with that also. So very proud of him for that. Dustin Moore shot shotgun. Dustin was, didn't you shoot a perfect score at regionals? 200? Shotgun? Yes. I think you did. I'm almost positive of it. I don't have it in front of me, and I apologize. But he shot 200 at regionals. He didn't go on to win it, but he done very well with it. And then my last one is Jesse Plott. Jesse shot archery. He also shot 22. And I wanted to say that how proud I am of all the kids here tonight. Thanks for showing up. And for those that did not, I'll take their certificates and try to get them to them.
Oh, yeah.
Sir.
I think everybody's already gone.
Thank you.
Next we have Ms. Allison. Congratulations to all those that were recognized tonight, whether they were here or at home watching or at other practices. It sounds like most everybody was at a practice or another event. So we hate that you couldn't make it, but do know that we appreciate all your efforts and your recognitions. Ms. Francis, I believe, is next on the agenda.
Chairman Francis, members of the board, I just wanted to share some information with you tonight. USDA does an equipment assistant grant each year, and we applied for 9 pieces of equipment, the grant, and we were awarded 6.
Wow.
Meadowbrook and Haywood Early College will be receiving new serving lines. Pisgah, Haywood Early, Canton Middle, and Riverbend will be receiving new combi ovens for a total of $139,000 in grant.
Wow.
That's great.
Great news. Great news.
We also have received some supply chain assistance funds from USDA. Throughout the pandemic, school food professionals have met extraordinary challenges to ensure every child can get the food they need to learn, grow, and thrive. But circumstances in local communities remain unpredictable, and supply chains for food and labor have been stressed and at times disrupted. This guidance describes $1 billion being provided by the Food and Nutrition Services to enhance local school districts' ability to purchase foods for school meals by offering resources needed to address supply chain challenges directly to school and school districts. Haywood County received $133,191, and this was based on enrollment.
Thank you. Congratulations. That was great. We have had some individuals sign up for our open session portion tonight, and now's the time period designated by the Board of Education for public comments. This time is set aside for comments from the general public in regard to matters of concern to the public. However, comments addressing specific students and/or personnel are prohibited due to confidentiality laws and regulations. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board requests that all speakers adhere to the time limitation and prohibition against mentioning individual students and/or personnel. Excuse me. First, we have Kim Ross. Welcome, Ms. Ross.
It's so much easier talking to kids than it is adults. It's such an honor to have taught in Haywood County schools for 15 and a half years. I did just retire, and Haywood County is so much to be excited and proud of. Graduation rates have gone up. Y'all know that you top the National School Board, teachers at 20.5%, 0.5 of the whole state. That's phenomenal. I think the pandemic has kind of highlighted a lot of needs. Some of these have been shown. We just talked about that. Some of these needs have always been there. Smaller classes, more school nurses, more counselors, just all sorts of things, more teachers. Okay, so let's look at 2 of these needs, mental health and our youth. I believe a gentleman spoke a few months ago about the need to increase this. I found a little bit of data. In North Carolina youth, there's been a 45% increase in depressive episodes, a 70% increase in ER visits for behavioral health conditions during the pandemic. So we know we have that data, so we need more counselors. I think a couple months ago, Dr. Nolte, I wish I'd taken a screenshot, had up there the need for more counselors and a school psychologist. So we know we need that, okay? Let's see. Haywood Middle School Academy, we don't have any more. That's due to funding. I do not understand the mechanics of how federal, state, local grants and all that work together. I just know that we do have needs. Also, teacher retention. The turnover rate went up just a little bit last year, up to 8.5%. My guess is it's going to be higher this year. I know I'm part of that. I loved Haywood County schools. It was, Although, when we look at education programs, Western Carolina has shown that since 2014, those wanting to go into programs has increased. It's still not where it should be or where it needs to be, okay? So let's look at the North Carolina General Assembly. The budget that was signed in this past December was the first one in 2018, okay? So we need to nag the GA a little bit. I know the governor asked for 10% pay increases for teachers and principals and like 2% COLA raises for retirees. The House budget wanted to include maternity leave, restore the master's pay, and have some rural recruitment bonuses. A lot of that did not occur. I think teachers and principals got like a 5% over the next 2 years, something like that. National board pay is still there. Let's look at healthcare considerations. I had heard, I started in 2006, and there was something about after October 2006, and this is for all state employees, have to pay half. I chose the 80-20, so I pay $50 a month. Those right now, if they retire, they have to pay 50%. That's $316.18 a month. Who can afford that? And at some point, maybe 2016, those who have to pay full health benefits is $582.32 a month. That's just for personal. Who can afford that? Is that my 3 minutes? I'm sorry. We need to nag. There's money out there. I left some.
I'll share this with the other board members, and we'll make copies for each board member, your talking points.
And I'm happy to work as a community member to help you pester the North Carolina General.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we have Mr. Tim Reeves.
Hello, board.
Hey.
Good to be back tonight. I first addressed you all on January the 11th, and several things have happened since then, as we all know. At the last board meeting, I had one kind of say in jest, look what you started. And but I believe that it's interesting to see the discourse that's taken place. I stood in response to a book that had been assigned to a 10th grade reading assignment to my son entitled Dear Martin. And of course, we came to a greater understanding that that book was not upon the syllabus, and that was the greatest leverage that we had in order for it to be pulled as an assigned text. Upon further discovery, we understand that it was at a Lexile 4th or 5th grade level, and so was it actually really appropriate for 10th grade? I just want to stand here tonight and say, first of all, thank you to all you that serve in our schools and our school board. We know that you give great sacrifice, and I want you to know that we've always supported our children and their teachers. It's interesting to see the reactions that have taken place since January the 11th, as I first approached on January 7th and 8th by email. The news media, it's interesting to see how that they selectively cover things in order to maybe steer a dialogue, and the dialogue that's been steered since has been very interesting. Even to go to the extent that they reach out to a adolescent specialist, but yet has no children. And so I speak tonight as a parent that has a child at Tuscola, a parent that has a child at Waynesville Middle School, and in great concern for our children. Race is another thing that's been brought up. It's interesting how that the dialogue concerning race, I've said from the get-go, you know, that language, the vulgar language, the vulgarity, the sexual innuendo was always my desire to address concerning this book. And I'm a firm believer we need to discuss diverse issues of race with the African American community, with the Hispanic community. My children go to school with more Hispanics and Latinos than I ever did, and also with our Native American. The greatest thing that I'm here tonight to discuss is parental involvement. At the last board meeting, there was a presentation of a proposed policy for 3210 discussing parental involvement. I believe that our focus should always be to be involved with our children. When you look at the beginning of the school policy, in which I've had great understanding that this board has control, maybe not over statute, but it does have control over policy. And so I want to encourage you to look at that policy. I've looked at it, I've read it. It continually says over and over again, for the excellency of Haywood County Schools, for the excellency of Haywood County Schools. I believe parental involvement is very important in that. So I just want to encourage you to look at this policy. I've got many more things I'd like to say that 3 minutes will not allow, but parental involvement is very necessary in moving forward. Our voice is of great concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Randy Mcdowell.
Board.
Good evening.
First of all, I've just got one question, and excuse me for my ignorance, but I don't understand. I've been to the last 3 or 4 board meetings, and I've heard some very intelligent questions asked, but I can't find out a response or answers to those questions. Where do I find that stuff at? Secondly, I've been driving the school bus for Haywood County starting this school year. It'll be my 9th year. I consider myself a very intelligent person, and I'm a very good school bus driver. I got called out the other day. Supposedly somebody called on me for speeding. Asked me how fast I was going. I was going 21 and a 20. Secondly, they said I was doing 24 and a 20. I invite any of you guys and any of this administration to get on the bus with me and drive 21 miles an hour and tell me I'm going fast enough for somebody to call me in for speeding. It ain't gonna happen. I don't know what the agenda is, and I've lost a lot of respect for a man that was put in a position that he's in now for this very thing. Things that should be addressed. There's bushes sticking out on the street on Medford Avenue. I put in for it 2 years ago. They have those bushes trimmed back. You know when it got done? This year, and they're still not trimmed back far enough. I put in for bushes in a house that had junk strode up and down the highway to have it cleaned up 3 years ago. You know when it got done? This past summer. That's the things that should be important. My driving ain't. I love my kids. It ain't nobody gonna tell me I don't. Don't do that. Don't call me in and tell me that I'm speeding for going 1 mile over the speed limit. I've talked to quite a few officers, law enforcement officers that I know, and I asked them, would I be penalized for this? And they told me if they stopped everybody that was doing 5 or 6 mile an hour over the speed limit, the courtroom would be so full that they can't keep them all. I know some of this administration don't like me, and I don't care. I've had a tree limb, not a tree limb, a tree over an electric wire for 2 years at a school bus roundtable meeting. I was asking about that. The minute I started speaking, my superiors told the lady that was taking notes, don't write down nothing he says. Like my voice don't matter. My voice matters and my feelings matter, and I'm fed up with it. He told me the main thing for you to do is don't hit that tree. I said, I'm not gonna hit it. I'm worried about it hitting my bus and killing my kids.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell. That's all we have signed up for the public open session tonight. I've got your questions written down, Mr. McDowell. Okay, next, board members, you've had an opportunity to look at the closed session minutes from March 31st and closed and regular session minutes from April the 4th. I need a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Rogers, second by Mr. Nesbitt. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have Miss Allison Francis again.
Chairman, members of the board, I'm here tonight to discuss the community eligibility provision and to get your approval on the schools that are eligible for this year. The community eligibility provision is a meal service option for schools and school districts in low-income areas and is a key provision of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act. CEP allows the nation's highest poverty schools and districts to serve breakfast and lunch at no cost to all enrolled students without the burden of collecting household applications. This alternative saves local education agencies time and money by streamlining paperwork and administrative requirements and facilitates low-income children's access to nutritious school meals. The criteria for a school to qualify for CEP is at least 40% of the students have to either be on food stamps, be considered homeless, migrant, runaway, or a foster child. We have 7 schools at this time that qualify in that category. We have Bethel Elementary, Canton Middle, Central Haywood High School, Clyde Elementary, Hazelwood Elementary, Jonathan Valley Elementary, and North Canton Elementary. Jonathan Valley is on the spreadsheet I provided you is only showing at 39%, but they're on year 3 of a 4-year cycle.
Yep.
So they have 1 more year in theirs, but the rest of them would all renew this year for an additional 4 years.
Okay. We need a motion for approval, please.
I'll make a motion for the community eligibility provision.
Okay, Mr. Nesbitt's made a motion, second Mr. Rogers, is that correct?
Yes, second.
All right. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor?
Thank you.
There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Francis. This time, I would ask for a motion that we approve the travel to the North Carolina School Board Association Summer Leadership and Policy Conference, June 20th to June 24th, for those that are going to attend.
So moved.
All right, we have Dr. Rogers made the motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Mr. Francis, any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, it's Dr. Putnam with our mandatory monthly vote. And then followed by that, we'll do some policy stuff.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, you accurately pointed to our masking policy as required. Requires a monthly vote on masking. Your current masking policy is a mask optional policy, should you choose to approve.
Okay.
Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve the optional masking policy.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Rogers, second Mr. Nesbitt, to continue on the same path we've been going for a while. I believe is correct, just for clarification. We're not changing anything. And so, are there any questions or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Right,
You're
next
up
item,
next.
Mr. Chairman, are policies for second reading. We didn't have any to bring back to you on first read. These are for a consideration of approval. Policy 2302, remote participation in board meetings. Policy 3225/4312/7320, technology responsible use. Policy 4152, unsafe school choice transfer.
Chairman, make a motion we approve the policies as presented for the second reading.
Mr. Rogers has made a motion. I hear a second. Second, Mr. Hanson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And then we had an add-on for the Building and Grounds Committee, I believe it was. Dr. Rogers.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This first motion that I'm going to bring before the board is in an effort of accountability and transparency. And the motion is to approve ESSER funds to the amount of $464,800 for the Waynesville Middle School cafeteria HVAC renovation.
Okay. We have a motion from the Building and Grounds Chair, Dr. Rogers. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Francis. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Second item, Mr. Chairman, is a motion to approve an RFQ for the farm building at Tuscola High School.
Okay. We have a motion from Dr. Rogers. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burnett. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anything else from Building and Grounds?
That's it. Thank you.
Well, I sure appreciate it. Thank you much for the hard work of the Building and Grounds Committee. Okay, next we have, I think Mr. Francis is going to do the
fill in for
finance,
Mr. Clark.
'cause Mr. Clark is out this evening, so we'll turn it over to Mr. Jim Francis.
Thank you, Chairman. Would like to bring before the board the regular monthly financial reports. We've met earlier and reviewed all those. Everything seems to be in order, so I'd like to bring those reports to form of a motion before the board for approval.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr.
Second.
Francis. Do I hear a second? I do, from Mr. Nesbitt. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. We have a couple more items here to bring before the board. First is the approval of the enterprise lease program for ITC and Transportation Department vehicles pending budget availability in each department. Also compliance with surplus requirements and the approval of Mr. Smathers on the lease agreement.
Okay.
I received those late this afternoon. I had a chance to look at them all.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Rogers, any questions or discussion on the motion on the floor?
Basically, this is just to maybe surplus some vehicles that they're using, and an alternative is to lease the vehicles instead of purchase them. Hopefully, it'll save some money for the
Okay.
system.
All right. Have we voted yet? I can't remember. Okay. It threw me off my time.
Sorry.
Any other questions or discussion before we vote? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Okay.
carries unanimously. Sorry.
Next item to bring before the board is approve the purchase of a driver's ed vehicle from the lowest bidder for a price not to exceed $32,000. We need a new driver's ed vehicle, so we have some funds available to purchase that. So we need to get another car.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Hanson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Next item is to approve or awarding the contract for the Bethel Middle School serving line replacement to Stafford Smith at a price of $70,992.90.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burnett. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay.
The next item is to approve payment for the LETRS stipends for eligible teachers participating in the LETRS training as required by the state. And the stipend is for $125 per teacher for a 6-hour unit. And this will also have to pay the FICA in retirement in addition to that. So it's a sort of a stipend for teachers for doing some training.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Hanson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And one more item. To approve the payment plan for PRC 071 supplemental funds for teacher compensation. This is state funds.
State funds, okay. We have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Nesbit. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I just want to say big thanks to Ms. Garland for all her hard work in our finance department and helping us out. Doing a great job.
Next, we have Ms. Garland to talk to us about budget amendment number 7.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You have before you tonight for your approval budget amendment number 7. This is primarily to adjust the budget for additional state and federal funds we've received. I would like to point out there is an amendment to the local current expense fund for $1.25 million. That is to appropriate fund balance to hopefully get us through the rest of the year.
Okay.
And that is about half of what we currently have in fund balance.
Okay. We need a motion for approval of budget amendment number 7.
So moved.
And Mr. Rogers made the motion, second by Mr. Burnett. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. Next, we have Dr. Nolte for our personnel.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff, and guests, this time I bring the personnel that we discussed previously in closed session. For your information, we have 21 separation from employment, 5 ESS long-term substitutes, and 3 leave of absence. For your approval, we have 5 employments, 238 employee status changes. That's mainly summer work, summer school, things like that. 1 leave of absence, 14 employee coaches. That's mainly beginning the fall coach approvals. 8 non-employee coaches and 2 volunteer services.
I need a motion for approval of the personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Rogers made the motion, second by Mr. Nesbit. Any questions or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Dr. Nolte. There being nothing but coming on the agenda, we will stand adjourned.